Just making sure that I can see. I can. Fabulous. Just so I can see the live stream and thereby see your comments. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, there they are. There they are. Most wonderful. Barbara Page, this should be a good one. Plenty of hot topics, Barbara. You don't say. Uninvited guest. Oh, hello, Adrian. Looking forward to this one. Thank you, uninvited guest. GB Patriot, don't be late, you're wrong. What do you mean? And who was it? Barbara Page. Hello, Adrian. Spud Bin. Hello, Adrian. Hello, Spud Bin. Norman Taylor. Oh, there you are. You're wrong. Patricia Engels. Patricia, please tell me that I'm pronouncing your second name correctly. Engels. Engeles? Evening all. Mikey Peters, good evening. Good evening. Mikey Peters and the Baron Flights. Has Macron left France with his 80 grand watch on his wrist? Phil Sumner. Evening, Chunky. Oh, you've heard. Evening to all the champagne sippers. It's going to be a good one. Don't you worry about that. Phil, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. To Sandra Witham. Hello from Yorkshire. Oh, God's country. God's country, the biggest county in the UK. Is it 3,000 and odd square miles? Beautiful. That's just north and east. That's without west and south. GB Patriot, anyone news on Billy Bull Mugger? Well, you'll have to wait and see. Mikey Peters. Oops. What are you doing, Mikey? Chalky Wait. Hi, Adrian. Hello, Chalky. And, Angeles. Thank you, Patricia. Really appreciate that. We'll wait until a few more people have got their feet under the table before we start. And yes, there is an awful lot to talk about. I would appreciate it if you're able to... Simo Maria. Evening. Where are we going? Sarah Ann, Plain Existence. Evening from... Pwywch tad nawr te. Sarah Ann. Keith James, Phil is retired from pantomime. Well, great gag. Phil is retired from pantomime. Well, at least he got Aladdin. Andy Turner, hello, Chunky Monkey. And Chocolate Frenzy says, hello, Adrian. Evening all. Hello, one and all. You utter wrong-uns. This is... where are we? Well, we'll give it a couple of minutes. But it's live stream 16. Now, you'll be impressed that A, the phone didn't fall over. B, I haven't had 20 streams going at one time. So, slowly but surely, the technophobia is disappearing. The technophobia in me is slowly disappearing. Yeah, brave words, Adrian. Matt B, hi, Adrian. Hope you had a great weekend. It's been interesting. Been master wedding stuff, but I'll tell you about that later. Who else? Phil Sumner. Adrian, I have to be careful. I must be careful what I say. They might take my bank account off me. I mean, yeah, we've got Nigel and a vicar and political parties. But I have a take. I do have a take. To Andy Sinsky, good evening, all you wrong-uns. Evening, Andy. Mr. John Up. Evening, Sarah Ann from Cardiff, South Wales. Lived in Cardiff-ish for while I was doing... Hang on, let's just get this out of the way. I'll just use my large noggin to try and block them out, to be fair. I loved my time. Mike Alligators. Yeah, Mike, thank you very much. All right, Adrian, I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. South Wales. Fabulous. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love the Gower. Love Swansea. Cardiff. It has its own style. Especially on rugby days, when all the boys come down from the valleys. That's a tough gig, let me tell you. Adam Joblin. How are you? Hope you're well, mate. Thank you, Adam. Do appreciate it. Mr. John Up, Real Radio. Loved it, Adrian. Me too, Mr. John Up. It was just the best fun. We had some fabulous times. And we are working on a little bit of retro on his bikes. Hang on, do my bit to save the planet. I'm having a what? I'm having an ice cold beer. Yes, can't have warm beer, retro. No, definitely not. I don't mind the planet warming up, which it's not, but warm beer, sacrilege. Frida Hallworth, I'm in Anglesey, North Wales. I never ventured that far north, Frida, but South Wales, Wales in general. Beautiful people, beautiful place. Had the best time. I can't knock the Welsh in any part of Wales. It just, I think once I'd gained people's, because look, I came from a mining community to a mining community, or a former mining community, and everyone in Wales viewed me with suspicions. Who's this guy? And I told you before, the launch day, where I had to be a bit of a tart, a bit of a controversial old tart, because everybody knew who the other presenters were. They didn't have a clue who I was, but then they did. They found out and loved it. The late night phone-in on Real Radio in South Wales was one of the best times of my life. So if you forgive me for over egging that particular pudding, loved it, loved it, loved it. Barbara Page, North Wales near Chester's not in North Wales, Barbara. But then again, you could have heard me on Rock FM in Chester and Evening L and City FM in Liverpool, which I did daytime for Retro on his bikes. I had a lovely holiday in Wales a few years back. Hope to go back. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's breathtaking. The Gower, honestly. I went horse riding in the surf, far out west, past Swansea, past. My partner took me for a kind of a horse riding holiday, a bit posh, and I had the best time, best people, best time. Comes close to Scotland because I've broadcast in all three parts of this bit of the island. I've never done Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland, but Wales and Scotland hold a very, very, very place in my heart. Hi, Lynn. Love your honesty, Adrian. You're very kind. And here's Barbara, the pedant, saying, my house is just inside the North Wales border, 2 miles from Chester. Is it really, Barbara? Fabulous. Now, if you forgive me, I think everybody's got their feet under the table. I hope you've got either something cold, if it's a bit too warm for you, like Retro on his bikes, or you may have a cup of something warm. Obviously, my staff haven't arrived with mine yet. Hint. She's not listening. Mr. John, I want to thank you for all the wonderful memories you gave me when you were in Cardiff, Adrian. It was indeed a great time. I remember that, Mr. John, I haven't forgotten about the Top Man tapes. I will, but do people use CDs nowadays? If not, I will. I will get it transferred over to you. I mean, the modern technology like WeTransfer and stuff. I'll get it over to you. Don't you worry, sir. So this is live stream 16. Frank Hanna. Never been to the Isle of Man. I've never ridden a bike. Motorcycle, if you wish. No, I have, but I've been pillion. But no, I hear it is beautiful, and I hear that it's one of the oldest parts, because the Vikings and stuff, they all came down the east coast via Scotland and up from Europe and Belgium and Holland, and so they all attacked the east coast. It was the West that got away with it. Hang on, what's that? Okay. Right, shall we? Of course. So this is live stream 16, kind of a roundup of what's going on today and what's happened over the last week. The next live stream, because we always do the housekeeping at the beginning, is Sunday, the 9th of July. Now, it is a question that I need to ask you. Tonight it's 7 o'clock, but I noticed that the live stream last week went over a little bit, over 8 o'clock, and a lot of people were still joining. So I don't know whether you prefer 7 o'clock, whether you've been able to eat, put the kids to bed, or whether you'd prefer it at 8 o'clock. I can't go any later than that because it's way beyond my bedtime. So would you prefer 8 or is 7? We'll do a little poll. I'll do it tonight and then we'll do it during the week. But we're getting into a regular rhythm, if you know what I mean. Sundays and Wednesdays. Can't do this Wednesday. This Wednesday, I'm being taken out. That's out, not out. I'm going to see Spitting Image, the musical. Honestly, they'll have some fabulous topical gags. So you know that from Thursday, I'll be using their gags. Oh, it's in the public domain. But I once went to see a royal show called Windsor's The End Game with Harry Enfield, and it was funny. So, Spitting Image, I'm fully expecting a bit of a giggle. Full report Thursday. So, no live on Wednesday because I'll be having a small one and having a bit of a giggle. Thank you to my partner who has been very generous and managed to get me out the house. Out. Ooh, Fiona Crawford, Spitting Image, you lucky devil. I know. It's going to take us a while to get there. Retro on his bikes, how's the wedding plans going? Oh, retro. All the lads that have been married will know exactly what I'm talking about. Wedding suit, wedding shoes, wedding tie, wedding everything. And my fiance is insanely awesome. I mean, she's keeping me from everything. She's just amazing. But all I've got to do is find a wedding suit, and all the lads that have been married will know how easy that is. As Elle said, don't do it, Adrian. I was happy for 18 years. You see, a moving target is harder to hit, Elle. But, you know, when you find the one, happy to. But wedding suit are just... a very good friend of mine, another broadcaster, eloped to Gretna Green. And judging by the amount of money it's costing us for this wedding, eloping to Gretna Green might have been the better idea. It's closer. So, stop distracting me, Retro on his bikes. I lost so much weight, I had to have my suit adjusted 3 times before the wedding. Retro, I mean, I don't really know what to say, simply because I've never been married before. Andy, I can't really see what you're saying because there's a heart above it, but I will get to it in a second. I've DJ'd a few weddings in the past, in my day. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I may as well tell you now. I'm going to attempt. Now, you can make your own gags up if you want. I'm not, because I could find a blade between my shoulder blades in my sleep. We're going to try a world's first on the honeymoon. I'm not going to tell you where I'm going, but it's a long way away. And we're both fans of Graham Hancock. So we're going to one of the best sites and places in the world ever. And I'm going to try a first there. I'm not going to give you any more clues tonight. You'll have to wait. But it's never been done before. I'm absolutely sure of that. And I'm going to make sure that technically there are things in place. We'll get those in a second. So we're going to do a first. Try. World first. Honestly, I'm very excited by it. And the honeymoon, of course. She'll slap me if I don't say that. Mr. John, I'm really pleased for you, Adrian. I wish you and your loved one all the very best for a long and happy future together. You're very kind, Mr. John. The Baron Flights, well, you're not going to wear a white suit, are you? You're wrong. I might. I'm a fan of Saturday Night Fever. How do you know? Oh, can you imagine? Rich Jones, the wedding suit was easy for me. She told me where to go, what to get. Nothing's changed. I'm with you, Rich. Honestly, I'm going to get that look when I finish this. So I better move on pretty swiftly before I get myself into trouble. Next live stream, next Sunday. We'll do it at 7 o'clock. But we'll wait and see what people vote for, whether it's 7 or 8. Congratulations if you're with me tonight. I hope the little promo earlier today worked. And to the cynical old tart that said to me, Adrian, did you forget to shave? You're utter wrongin'. Just for you. Tomorrow, Wimbledon fortnight. So we know that week one, it's going to lash it down. We know that there's going to be storms because there always is. And then somehow it kind of brightens up, the sun comes out, and they always manage to finish the tournament. Mostly, they manage to finish the tournament by the final Sunday, men's final Sunday. Except I did go to Terry Wookfit, Falkland Islands. What? Hey, what? Are we having a conversation on our own, you lot? Sorry. That's so an antithesis of what I was always trained to do. 1-to-1. Oh, no. Sorry. Forgive me. I'll get it in a second. So am I going to Egypt? No. That's where I proposed. Do you want to hear the proposal story? Falkland Islands, Terry, I wish. Can you imagine? All that free sheep. Stop making your own gags up. Japan, Barbara, we did think about Japan, being a student of ninjutsu and the esoteric and all of the more Eastern healing modalities. So I'm a Reiki master, student of shiatsu, Tuina, which is traditional Chinese medicine, and quantum touch, which is American. So I have all that in my background, and trained in the martial art of ninjutsu, which is not a sport. It's a proper martial art. There are open-handed techniques and weapon techniques and 8 gates of enlightenment. Oh, it's a whole story for a complete live stream one Sunday night or Wednesday night. New Zealand, relatives in New Zealand, but we can't get that far. So no, I'm not going to tell you. It's interesting the direction that you're going in. Oh, GB Patriot, apologies. Adrian, check your settings when advertising your stream. Start time, as it said, 1800, when it actually started at 1900. My many apologies. Alan, lick your thumb. Right, I'm going to get on to what we need to talk about because there's too much to get in. So you got Wimbledon fortnight. We know that it's going to hoy it down, rain, the first week, and then they'll get to men's final Sunday. Interestingly, though, the women have been allowed to wear coloured shorts. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but look, 14 days of people with tremendous ball skills, so that has to be commended. Rumours Holly Willoughby is off to Strictly Come Dancing. What did I tell you? Weeks ago, when it was all kicking off with Schofe. I will give you my take on this. Now, Holly might be, but Holly might not, and I'll tell you for why. Fern, missed the start. What you like, Fern? It's very good contract negotiation. What they're doing at the moment, and you can see it a mile away, is they're testing out all of the other presenters and probably doing some screeners with other people. So they are testing the waters. See who works well with Holly, see who doesn't work well with Holly, and everything else. They'll do that over the summer until the summer break, and then they'll come back in September with whatever they decide they're going to come back with, whether it's renamed, revamped, rescheduled, anything. But they're trying to get people and work out who the best couple, Holly and another, is going to work best. But what they're also doing, I believe, is Holly is like, right, you wrong uns. Should we talk money? Oh, by the way, and they do the contract negotiations in the press. So people at ITV will go, oh, is Holly off to? Oh, blimey. So, wonder how much she's been offered at Strictly Come Dancing. Wonder what she's been offered by the BBC. Let's give her more money. That's great contract negotiations. So there may be rumours. Not sure. But it plays to Holly's advantage. Has she come back from Glastonbury yet? Blimey. It's in the press that Dermot should quit this morning to keep his credibility because of the Schofield fallout. That's a very interesting point. Very interesting. But it depends what they're going to do in September, because there's a lot of money there. There's hundreds of thousands if you get that gig. Hundreds of thousands for the next 10 years. They'll be looking for an older guy. Maybe should dye my hair grey. I want to ask you this. Anybody know about Temu? I found this found this WhatsApp, this website and this app, Temu. It's insane. They're like, it's almost as if they're going to pay you to take their stuff. Clothing stuff, of course. But, Andy, you can stop that. Adrian for this morning. Oh, go on. Be funny. Funny as. Retro on his bikes. Q jumped to Glastonbury. 2, I heard. Helicopter. Retro. Oh, didn't want to mix with the serfs. No. No, Hubby and Holly. Helicopter. Dermot is a great interviewer on real stories. You should stick to that. Thank you. Well, good point. So I found this looking for kind of, as well as the wedding suit. I'm not looking on there. I'm making sure it goes on my back before I wear that. But looking for like some lightweight, hot clothes. And this website, it's just insane. It's hard. It must be Chinese, and they I'm not quite sure of the quality. But Temu, what a website that is. Angela Gardner, hi Adrian, what are we talking about? Go into the description, it'll tell you. There's loads there. Bit of Belfield, bit of Schofe, bit of France, bit of Farage, bit of... We'll talk about the NHS, because I want Spineless Sunak, Rich Boy Sunak. I want to talk about this, because, you know, I was keeping you updated on my retinopathy appointment, where they look in my eyes and go, Adrian, they're not working. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I can nearly see your comments in front of me, but it's been changed again for the 6th time. They've now changed it to next Sunday. Sunday? Hang on, even Jesus Christ had a day off. So I'm waiting for another letter during the week. So it's gone from June, July, September, back to July. I mean, these people, the NHS is absolutely stuffed. But we had Rich Boy Sunak yesterday. Spineless. It's in 3s. So he's saying we're going to train, retain and reform. And you've got a Chancellor that wrote a book on how to take the NHS private. Jeremy Hunt. I knew his brother Charles. I'll wait for you. So they're saying a quarter of all staff is from the overseas. They want to get it to 1 in 10. Yeah, good luck with that. They're going to try and bring the agency staff down. I mean, why work in the NHS when you can go to agency and earn twice as much for the same job? There are 110,000 vacancies in the NHS. 110,000. The pension's not bad either, so I'm told. But you know what I was waiting for? It's the 75th anniversary this coming week of the NHS. And I was just waiting for Spineless Sunak to come out and say, build back better. Do you remember that? Bojo, build back better. Klaus Schwab, build back better. But he never said it. He said we're going to train, retain and reform. Oh, good luck with that, Rich Boy. He's gone in 18 months. I mean, he's absolutely will disappear. He'll have security for the rest of his life because he's an ex-prime minister. He will have his prime minister's wage as his pension for the rest of his life. Is he after power? Spineless. Have you seen him? He's only about 3'6". I mean, how can you rely on somebody to have a bit of spine, a bit of gumption? Spineless, that boy. Spineless. We need a leader. We need proper leaders to step up to the mark. And I was watching him as a technician. I was watching him as a communicator. He's just a pants script reader. Just pants. Now, maybe I'm doing the guy a disservice, but he's Prime Minister. And look, I can lob epithets at him as much as I want. He's the one that's got nearly £1 billion in the bank with the missus. I haven't. I don't care. I just know what I see and I can call it out. So everything's stage managed for that boy. Rich Boy, you should have called it Build Back Better. We would have trusted you more. As far as I'm concerned, train, retain and reform. You know that's not going to happen, don't you? Like, oh, we're going to solve the problem with the small boats. What are small boats? Dinghies. So he said, when he came into power as Prime Minister, we will sort this. We will solve this. And I've got the newspapers with the headlines on that he was going to sort it. And what are they doing? They're making a mess of it. That's what they're doing, because they know, and I'll get to it in just a little while, the minute anybody from outside this sceptred isle sets foot on this green and present land, they are subject to the Human Rights Act. Have you read that recently? So let's get on to Jeremy Hunt. In today's Sun, now I've got a theory for you, which you might want to hear. Jeremy Hunt has today, in the Sun on Sunday, he's backed a crackdown on rip-off fuel prices. There's going to be a report coming out tomorrow, which everybody will be talking about. Now, can you remember when fuel was £2 a litre? Can you remember during the pandemic, it went down to 90p a litre? So why would it go down to 90p when nobody was buying fuel because everybody was locked up in their house? Why would that be? And then it goes up to £2 a litre. So here's my theory. What they're doing, these profiteering clowns, that includes the politicians, because they're all in the back pocket of companies. Brown envelopes, been proven in the past. Brown envelopes. Some got found out taking money in brown envelopes. So this is the deal. It was, the price of a litre of fuel was around £1, just over £1, and then kept going up and up and up. And what they did was they took it really high until it really squeezed us to the point where we didn't want to use our cars because it was cheaper throwing gold away. So they brought it back down to what? So we're looking at £2 a litre, and it comes down to, I'm paying £1.34. It looks at £1.34 as if it's so much better than £2 a litre. But it's worse than what it was before we all went into lockdown. At 110, 115. 115 was still pretty high. So it's higher than that. So they're profiteering. So here we go into the utilities. So gas and electric, what do? They say, oh, there's war on. So, it's got to go up. No, it doesn't. They're profiteering. They're making billions in profit. But what they're going to do? They just stick it through the roof so you're squeezed. So you have to cough the money. You've got no choice. We had pensioners who had to decide heat or eat during last winter. And it'll be the same the next winter. But what they're doing is they're going to stick it right up. And then they'll bring it down as they are now. If you're looking for deals for your utilities, then they bring it back down. They bring it back down to a manageable level, but it's still higher than it was before we went into the pandemic. So it's clever. You get squeezed so tightly that you just can't take it anymore. And then all of a sudden it starts coming down and down and down. But it's not back down to the levels it was 3 years ago, which it should be. Because I'll tell you this, I lived in Scotland. There's a nuclear power station in Scotland, and they were buying their energy 3 years before I would pay for my energy. So a nuclear power station was buying and selling energy 3 years ahead of time. So we know that these clowns in the clown house in London, they know what the deal is. We're all being squeezed, and it's profiteering. It's basic profiteering, and not one of these clowns. Alan's right. Hidden green taxes, Adrian. I get it. I do get it. But who is asking the politicians? Now look at your mainstream media. Look at your journalists who, Ellie's on the front of the Sun on Sunday. You know that singer. Who? I'm not interested in some singer who might have consciously uncoupled from a husband, and then he's gone off with Zach Goldsmith. Wasn't his dad a billionaire? I don't want to know about that. I want to know what these clowns, our leaders, are doing for the greater good, are doing for me and you, are doing for our society, our communities, and not these wannabe politicians who just want the power. No, I want somebody with gumption. I want somebody with foresight. I want somebody to come out and say, these people are profiteering. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do their knees. They can start paying half of what they're making as profit to us. So it doesn't cost us as much in utilities or fuel, because I'm expecting a third. We know life, it happens in threes. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. So they'll inflate something to beyond where we can handle it, and then they'll bring it back down because they're really kind to us. They're really lovely to us. And they will make billions, because look, you and I are just cash cows. That's all we are. We go out, we work, we try and get a decent lifestyle. It's all about profiteering. Food prices. Look at these clowns. Food prices. Profiteering. When we were locked down, they want us reliant on the state. See, that's the game. Reliant on the state. Oh yeah, AC. I haven't forgotten those. Why is the scandals of PPE contracts for MPs' friends gone dark? You need me to tell you? Michelle Mone, 29 million. Did she cough and pay it back? Of course she didn't. They were all at it. They're always at it. That's why we know that Westminster is corrupt. Clowns. Clown world. Nothing in the news about that now? No. No. Because they don't want us to think. They just want us to be. They want us to cough up everything that we make and try and build the best life we can for ourselves. Are you aware that as of the 12th of June this year, that's last month, from an article in the local Europe, and it's everywhere if you go and look at it, the German courts are now examining claims over the Widowmaker, over the jibber jabber. They're examining it. So the Germans are ahead of everybody else. And I think the world is watching. Well, the politicians and Bill Gates and everybody, Fauci will be watching what's going on in the German courts. Germans are not mucking about. But have you seen that in your newspapers, in your news cycle, in your daily reportage? I bet you haven't. So let's get to young Nigel. Making plans for Nigel, XTC. What a great song. Let's have a look at Nigel Farage. Now, whether you like him or hate him, you know, he's a bit Marmite. The banks have said you can't have a bank account. How can you actually function in today's society where you need a bank account, credit card, because they want us in debt? And I get Nigel. He's not short of a bob or 10. But there's the vicar, Reverend Richard Fothergill, a man of the cloth. He's he can have a word with the guy upstairs. You know, that old guy with a white beard and the wings and playing his harp upstairs in the clouds. So the Yorkshire Building Society have told Vicar Reverend Richard Fothergill can't have a bank account. And isn't there a political party that can't have a bank account? I mean, I'm not going to join the dots for you because I know I've got some very, 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 very intelligent people that watch these lives and watch some of the videos that I do. I don't monetize the lives because this is the only place I can really get the truth out. But I'm very aware of who owns the banking. America is so far in debt, trillions in debt, they're never going to get out of it. They just can't get out of it. So I'm going to ask you this question. Which banks are private? Can you remember the last run on the banks? Can you remember where people started queuing outside the banks? It was like a Russian bakery. Those queues, they were massive. Can you remember when there was a run on the banks? And then the government had to say, whoa, hang on a second. We better look at this and make sure that people can get their money out of the banks. And people were panicking. So if you've got digital currencies on the horizon, which you have, and they're going to transfer everything in your bank account over to a digital currency. Are you going to allow that? Is that what you want for yourself, for your family, for your kids or grandkids? Or is that what you want? To be told we're going to transfer all of your ill-gotten gains over to digital currencies? Not even Bitcoin, just Bank of England digital currency. So I'm going to ask you again another question. Which central banks are still running in the wild? How many's left that are not controlled by one organisation? That alone can get me shut down. So you need to look at Hungary and Venezuela and China and Russia and Iran. Why? I have no idea. Go and do your homework. Because we are not far away from one organisation controlling all of the central banks on planet Earth. You think you're going to get away with it? Remember, you're going to own nothing and you'll be happy. Were you aware that there was summer Davos during the week? Did you see that reported anywhere in the newspapers? Klaus Schwab said it was the annual meeting of the new Champions 2023. Summer Davos, it was the 14th annual meeting of the new Champions 2023. There's Winter Davos, and this was held in China. The Chinese president, Xi Jinping, was there also, and the World Economic Forum committed to improving the state of the world. Just thought I'd tell you that, because you possibly didn't see it in the news media this week. I don't know why they wouldn't report that, to be fair. Ellie Goulding, Zach Goldsmith, on the front page. That right there has to be a distraction. It's possibly a distraction from what they're going to do tomorrow with this profiteering in fuel. The fuel companies. I mean, Jeremy Hunt as the Chancellor coming out and saying, oh, the profiteering. Terry Wookford, yeah, you're correct. Didn't Metro have a run on it a couple or 3 years ago? They'll close all the banks down. They'd give us options. I promise you. GB Patriot, Whiffen Bilderberg Group have a lot to answer for. And the Wheels of Steel, Rich Boy Party Time, Davos. Been there, skied there. Have you seen the... And forgive me if I'm rattling through some of the major stories that have gone on this week, but Madeline McCann, still. And so what's happening in the one of the newspapers, double page spread today, they've named prime suspect, but they've not said why he's a prime suspect. And they've now come out and said, oh, Christian Bruckner, he can pick locks. Look, we've had people going into a reservoir because we were told there was evidence in that there reservoir for Madeline McCann. So we're going to find out who murdered her or who abducted her or whatever has happened to Madeline McCann. And they're nothing because they weren't going to find anything. And now they're naming Christian Bruckner as a prime suspect because he was able to pick locks. Look, here's a really simple way of looking at this. Madeline McCann was taken from where she was because her parents weren't with her. I'll say that to you again. Madeline McCann was taken from where she was because her parents weren't with her. So let's get to Paris. Hopefully you're old enough to... Yeah, Terry, I agree with you. It's funny, but I'm not going to repeat it. Let's have a look at France, because I remember a couple of things that may give you context and insight. I remember the Tottenham riots. Can you remember that? Where PC Blakelock was macheted to death? Can you remember those riots? Can you remember Fred Barris, who travelled from Newark down to Norfolk to go rob an old boy's house, and he was shot. Now the old boy, I'm not going to name him because it's 20 odd years ago, but the old boy was jailed for it. So here in France we have similar with Fred Barris, who traveller from the community in Newark, 17-year-old gypsy, stolen car. career criminal, so I'm told from my source, since 14. Wow. D. John, I'll get you in a second. And the French are having to put 45,000 extra police on the streets. They haven't got 45,000 extra police. I'm telling you, it's like the miners' strike. In the miners' strike, the miners were so aggrieved, and remember, I come from a mining community, so I know this as fact, that there were people in the protests, police, that were army without numbers. So they just put them in uniform and sent them into the fray. Army and police uniform. That's what I was told from the front line. That's what I was told by my community. That's what I was told by the miners. And still to this day, we're 40 odd years away from the miner strikes. And still to this day, it has an effect on communities and places around England and Wales and Scotland. People don't forget. They never forget for their lifetime. And I remember going and doing fundraisers for the miners in my community. They were awful times. But you can guarantee that in France, they don't have 45,000 extra police. I mean, they can bring them in from Europe, I'm sure, and possibly get some from over here. But ordinarily, army and police uniform. But my take on it is that there is a tension in France, and this has just exploded it. It's like a bottle of fizz. You shake it, poof, off it goes. Now, we don't really need to talk about what has gone on with this young guy. And it's not for us to judge. It's not for us to apportion blame. But the mum of the boy has come out today and said, we don't want hate from this. Because there is a lot of tension in France. There's a lot of racial tension. And I'm hoping that the mum coming out saying we don't want hate from this is able to give some kind of succor, to give some kind of calming influence. Because it's 5 nights, non-stop. Mr. Jollop says, Adrian, I know fathers and sons who no longer speak because of the miners' strike. Me too. Me too. Whole families broken, communities broken, and some of the old mines that have been flattened and they've built on them. My specialist seems on a. Thank you, Andy. My specialist seems I'm on a call if I need help, and they are brilliant, wonderful. As ever with your comments, I will get to them. I'll look at them and I'll use them during the week because they're always full of. Wonderful information. Pension reforms also smashed the place up. Yeah, interesting, Norman, but they've still got the triple lock. I tell you, coming up 18 months from the general election, the Tory party won't want to do anything with the pensions. Anything. Why? Because they're going to get kicked out. But here's my prediction. I've watched a few general elections, and here's my prediction. It's going to be a hung parliament. Because people are going to look at the Tories and go, bunch of clowns. They're going to look at Keir Starmer and go, clown. So who can we trust? We can't trust some of the smaller parties because they've never had power. They don't know how to rule. We have no great leaders that are coming out and showing themselves. No great political parties that are coming out and showing themselves. So the political classes are going to give you 2 choices. Tories, Labour. And I know for sure that there are a lot of people that do not want to vote either of those ways. If only we had a box on the voting slip saying, vote for Clown World. Because that's all it is. Westminster is full of clowns. Self-serving clowns, by the way. Can I also, so we're steaming, baby. We're steaming through. Mick Jagger. What is this boy thinking? I mean, was it Beyonce? Better put a ring on it. Better put a ring on it. Mick, man, what you doing? So, seemingly, he's engaged again to some young girl in her 20s or 30s or 100 years younger than him. He's 79. Mick, man, Why would you do that? Well, I mean, you've been married to some of the most beautiful women in the world, and you're still going for it? Whew. First thing that came to my mind, 2 words. No, not those. 2 words. Blue pill. So he reckons, or she reckons, oh, it's a lovely ring. Yeah, Terry, I agree. But, you know, I mean, how much hassle do you want in your life at 79 years old? How many kids? Hassle what? Because she's going to want them. I mean, I worry for him. Can you think? Move like Jagger? No, stop that, Mick. You might pop a hip, man. So she's got a ring on her finger. It's a promissory. It's a promise ring. What's one of them? I mean, didn't he marry, what's her face, Jerry Hall? Didn't he marry her? And it turns out that, well, he didn't actually. But she thought she did. He did. So I'm not gonna name this girl, but the first question I would ask her is, so what attracted you to billionaire Mick Jagger? Mick, man, engaged to be married. Well, maybe he just gets an industrial load of those blue pills. So getting serious for a second, because I can. Oh, yeah. So, Kapan, Mick's only legally been married once before. That was to Bianca. So, you know, he can pick beautiful women. But he's a wily old fox, isn't he? I mean, Jerry Hall, in the Roxy Music LP covers, album covers. Ooh. He's a wily old boy. Got to give it to him. Stop that. No, you can't make those gags. I'll take offence, you Robin. So to Simon Ronaldo, what do you think of David Goggins? Goggins is a machine. Goggins is a machine. I mean, I'd love to get him on the channel, because I, you know, up until now we've been kind of going one way, but there's lots and lots of things that I want to do with this channel, lots of them. And I've interviewed 1,000,001 people before in my radio career. I've interviewed certainly sort of the 80s and the 90s. I've interviewed all of the stars. God, I could ream them off by the 100. Politicians and anybody that's got anything to say. Happy to interview them. So Simon Ronaldo, watch this space. If David would like to come on the channel, love to have a word with him. Ninja versus Goggins. Tremendous. I am a ninja, I promise you. I've got certificates for it. I'm just going to... Pink Roses, good gag. I'm going to repeat it. I want you to be aware of something that I saw earlier today. Thank you, Dean. And this is a reputable source. This is Sky News. Sky News, never wrong for long. They said that RAF families are being evicted from bases to house the illegal invaders. I'll just say that again. Sky News were reporting earlier today that RAF families were being evicted from bases to house illegal invaders. But that appears inaccurate. And I'll tell you for why. You know why Spineless Sunak and Braverman and all those, we'll sort it, we will deal with it. Well, you can't, because there's something called the Human Rights Act, and anybody stepping foot onto this sceptred isle has rights. They don't in the water, and they don't in France. But once they step foot in this country, they are governed by the Human Rights Act. They're not illegal once on UK soil. But I have said there's a better way of dealing with them. Remember Nicola Sturgeon? Knock, knock. Who's there? Nicola. Nicola who? Ah, well, that's Scottish politics for you. Send them up the East Coast. Send them via rail up to the East Coast. She loves them. She'll put them in her own house. Yeah, right. So when they land on UK soil, they are then governed by the Human Rights Act. And that's not Europe doing that. So I will tell you what the Tories are trying to do. They're trying to get rid of all the laws that don't suit them. European Working Time Directive, Human Rights Act, all of those enacted European laws that they wanted to get out of Europe for, so that they could get rid of them, so that they can rule us and decide what we do and how we do it and when we do it. Just keep an eye on it, because they're slippery, very slippery. D. John, credit to Mick Jagger, the way he moves about on stage at 79, unlike Elton or Rod. Elton hobbled on last weekend. Reg. Do you know he said that seemingly us having a go at Schofe is, I can't even use that word because the algorithm will squash this live. Just a question for you. We'll move on by that, the RAF families. It'll be interesting to see how that develops over the next few days, whether that is allowed in the news cycle. But have you noticed how there are 0 MPs suddenly collapsing? 0. And if you look at all the sports stars across all the sports, myocarditis and stuff like that, I'm not saying anything other than, have you noticed how few MPs are collapsing? 0. And there's a whole load of over 60 MPs that are disappearing at the next general election. They've had enough. Standing down at the next general election. So again, I've got a question for you. Why? Why? If you've got power and you've got a fair bit of bunts coming your way, why would you stand down? What is going on? Is it because most of the MPs now are standing for the globalist agenda rather than the benefit of the people that they're supposed to serve? I don't know, you tell me. And before I go on and talk about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, can you do me a favour? Can you just hit the thummy thing? Can you hit the like, please? Because it really does help the channel. If you could, before we finish in 10 minutes or so. Terry Wookfit, MPs didn't take the jibber jabber. That's why. Really, Terry? I'm not taking the mickey, Terry. I'm just... Me and you are on the same page, big lad. So yes, if you can hit the like, that would help greatly. But I just want to point you in the direction of Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. It's MMA. Now, seemingly, it's evolving. George St. Pierre, who's a bit of a tasty fighter in his time. And I have watched the UFC since its inception. But I will tell you this. George St. Pierre and Elon Musk, both Canadian. So, good matchup. But Musk's never going to fight. He's never going to fight. Seemingly, he has a medical condition which won't allow him. So, whether that's rumour or not, but I'll tell you 2 things about Elon Musk. Can you remember what he did with crypto, with Bitcoin? Can you remember? What he did was he said, Tesla will accept Bitcoin for Tesla vehicles. And Bitcoin went through the roof. At which point, he sold his Bitcoin. And then came out and said, oh, actually, we thought about it. No, we're not going to take Bitcoin. And Bitcoin fell. I mean, it was at a height of 70,000, 75,000 pounds per Bitcoin, or dollars. Now, struggling to make 20 grand. So like 3 and a bit time, more. Yeah, as Retro said, 164 people on this live and only 79 thumbs up. How weird, man. So Elon Musk, he's a very, very, very clever operator. I believe there's no such thing as a fight between Zuckerberg and Musk. Musk's already won because Musk said, oh, shall we have a dance? Mark? Sound like a dog with a hair lip. And Zuckerberg went, yeah, name the place. Come on, name the place. And Musk just laughed. Got him. Because there is an old boxer's adage. The man that angers you controls you. Zuckerberg's already lost. That's never going to happen in a month of Sundays, but it's talkability around Musk, one of the richest men on the planet. What the hell would he want to go into an MMA cage for? He doesn't need to. He's got billions. So I'm told. I laughed. I'm not too sure about whether I should tell you what's going on with the Ashes, because some people might be watching this and might be saving the cricket for later on. So if you don't want to hear the result, in the best Des Lynam, turn your ears off. I mean, you can look at me and laugh, but turn your ears off. England are trailing 2-0 in the Ashes. Oh, as a captain of a cricket team in my youth, pains me. It does pain me. So the final word this evening, Purple Bureau, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. GB Patriot, I hate the power YouTube, Facebook, Twitter have over people's lives and their opinions. I get that. I do understand that completely, because we're just being corralled to a place as a collective that really we don't want to go to. And most people, as we found 3 years ago, just wanted to do the right thing by their street or their cul-de-sac or wherever they lived, their community, their families. Everyone just wanted to do the right thing. And yet we had all these clowns who were profiteering. Some of them were getting on a train in London with Charlie Oscar Victor Indio Delta, just algorithm, and then went all the way up to Glasgow. And what did they get? I mean, they're all as bad as each other. You'll notice that Spineless absolutely wants Bojo gone. He wants him flattened. He wants him gone. He wants him out of the country. He wants him off planet Earth. That's where he wants Bojo gone to. Spineless. Rich boy. And yet, I saw Spineless at the same party. I've seen the photograph at the same party, but I'm really sorry. Yes, I know. I did a wrong thing. I did a bad thing. So I'm just apologizing to everyone. Bojo, they want him flattened, because you know something, they don't want him back. Spineless thinks he's going to go on for however long. He doesn't want him back. Bojo is the only person within that party, because he carries a lot of weight. Pause for comedy effect. He carries a lot of weight out in the trenches. Graham, very good. Mark Zuckerberg will throw a Zucker punch. Brilliant, Graham. So the political process, and I asked this in the poll during the week, people are just sick and tired of politicians, sick and tired of the political classes, sick and tired what they are doing to us. Sick and tired. Let's see how things evolve. I'm telling you, it's going to be a hung parliament. I put up a world exclusive, an Alex Belfield world exclusive. And it's very interesting, some of the responses to that. Very interesting, because I completely understand that I'm an expert in the convicted stalker, in Dougie. I'm an expert, and I know so much more. I get that. So I'm putting dots together, and you don't even know that those dots exist. I get that. I'm not having a go at you, but some people are just not getting what I'm presenting to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate vlog about all the comments, and I'm going to explain things, because some people are just not getting it. There are some people, that's why I say, I believe I've got some of the most intelligent viewers that view this vlog. I have some amazing viewers and amazing people that interact with me and this channel. They're highly intelligent and they've got long memories. Some of them have absolutely got it. They got what I told you. They got what I presented to you. Other people were like, is that it? I'm going to explain to you. Going to give you context, going to give you an explanation, and I'm going to give it in a different video to this. I could have talked all night about Dougie and that video, but we'll save it because I need to take you a little bit more slowly, I think. Adrian and Richard Vobes would make a great live. Thank you, Alan. Not sure who Richard is, but... and Terry Wookfit, thank you, Adrian. Andy Turner, some of us, like me, done. And Pink Roses, 100% Adrian. They just don't understand. So, video coming. More, they've gone away to the editor, the genius that is Jacob. Some of the videos have gone off to be worked on, and they will be coming to you over the next few days. The next live is next Sunday. It's either going to be 1900 or 2000. That's 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Tonight's been quite successful for numbers, so it may be 7 o'clock, but we'll wait and see. I'll just do whatever feels most comfortable for you. But they are going to be more and more and more regularly, Sundays and Wednesdays. More and more and more. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes. Just before we go, if you could just hit the likes, please, I really would appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel because I've got so much more coming during the week. So thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Next live, next Sunday, as it stands, 1900 hours. See you on the next live.